welcome back to another episode of First to the Floor. Ben Vallis here. Thank you for joining us. Hope you're doing well. The Celtics have wrapped up yet another playoff series, which means it's time for our poorly named end of series awards show. Alongside me here, frothing at the mouth to give out some of the industry's most prestigious awards, Wayne Spooney and Jake Eisenberg. How are we doing, guys?
Beautiful.
Doing great. Yeah, doing great.
Just wandering through the desert of this off time, which feels like we've been doing for months and months and months. But we're back again. We're used to it. And the takes around the world are totally normal and sane. And so it's a great time to be a Celtics fan that's in the finals, as you would expect, obviously.
Yes, level-headedness everywhere, just as you'd expect. Before we get to the awards, some quick housekeeping. Please subscribe to the First to the Floor YouTube channel. We did just hit 4K subs on our YouTube channel. The goal is to get to 5K by the off season. So don't hold up. Please subscribe to the First to the Floor YouTube channel. Grab your mum's phone, subscribe on her phone as well, or whoever's around you. Tomorrow, we're going to be back here live on YouTube at 8:45 p.m. tomorrow with Noah Dalzell from Celtics blog and CLNS to rank all of the spicy storylines going into the NBA Finals. Check out all of our links in the description, or if you're watching on YouTube, scan the QR code below. You can find us on socials, including Twitter and Instagram, where we're pretty active, but you'll also find the link to our Discord. Jake, I thought you did a good job of this last time. Do you want to let the people know what they can expect and the evolution of this Discord server so far?
It's just a bunch of Celtics freaks every morning. I wake up, check my Discord, and I feel like I'm lagging right now. I think my internet is struggling, so I might have to do a
reset. Good on my end.
No? Okay, cool. I just wake up. We've got a bunch of PhDs, people, scientists, mechatronic wizards, finance experts in there providing awesome stats, great arguments, respectful place to just in the midst of all the chaos of the media at the moment, it's actually a really great place to just talk Celtics, talk shit about the rest of the media, the rest of the NBA. It's a good time.
Absolutely. Check it out. It's a good hang. Check out Wayne Spooney's latest piece on CelticsBlog.com on how one particular schematic action helped the Celtics steal a game in the Pacers series. Spooney's writing incredible, especially in this case. I feel like a lot of people, I read a lot of pieces and people are trying to explain and articulate X's and O's, and Spooney, I think, particularly does a really good job of that. So make sure you check out Spooney's work on Celtics blog. Again, the links are in the description below. And finally, go and join the Celtics blog Playback Room. The whole thing is run by Jake Eisenberg here. He does an awesome job hosting the watch parties for every single game, along with a revolving cast of characters from the Celtics blog cinematic universe, including myself and Spooney. Okay, that was a lot of me talking, guys. Let me queue up these awards, and then I'll shut up for a bit. Now, in the case of the conference finals, as you know, the NBA already hands out an MVP award trophy named after some dude called Larry Bird, which this year went to Jaylen Brown. Congrats, Jaylen. So the NBA have asked us not to hand out our series MVP award in this case, of course, even if it does carry much more weight than this Larry Bird thing. So we're going to jump straight to the next category here, which is the Evan Turner Sneaky MVP Award. And folks in the chat, let us hear who your sneaky MVP nominees are. But in the meantime, Spooney, who have you got for this award?
Okay, so actually, Jake, can you go first? Because I have somebody who I'm assuming is the wrong pick just to talk about him, because I think his series went a little underrated, but I think there's a pretty obvious answer here.
Okay, and I can't believe that you've let the NBA overrule the Jordan Crawford MVP award. I thought it was a mistake in the run sheet, so I've prepared MVP propaganda for Jason Tatum. So we're going to have to find a way for me to talk about that at some point. Okay. But for the sneaky award of the series, I mean, it's Drew Holiday, I think. I'm not even sure if that's sneaky enough because of how excellent he was and how many big plays he made in this series. But for the series, 18, 7, 6, 1.8 stocks, 73.4% true shooting. Just an absurd stat line for, I guess, your third guy. He was your third star in this series. And to give you 18, 7, and 6 from that position, you have the clutch steal on Andrew Nembhard. You have the final offensive rebound against in the sealing game of the series. Plus him just being a destructive force defensively over and over again. Drew Holiday, playoff Drew, is here, man, and he is just trending in the right direction. Last 10 games, 15, 6, and 5, 68% true shooting on the series. On the entire playoff season now, 61.4% true shooting. He is the guy that we brought in, the guy that we've seen in the entire regular season, the guy that we were like, okay, if we get this regular season version of Drew, this it really changes who the Celtics are, even without Porzingis.
Yeah. Hey, Bucks fans. Having him on a smaller role is working like incredibly well. Drew is absolutely amazing. I think on both ends, really, in a series where I think Derek White kind of struggled to keep up with Indy's defense, although he had ridiculous stock numbers, but he was kind of getting picked on. I think Jack did a really good job in late night last episode talking about Drew and how White's had a little bit of trouble in the series. Drew was just amazing. I think the passing has kind of gone underrated too. Like he was at 21% assist percentage. So basically a fifth of his possessions ended in an assist. And that's not him being the primary ball handler all the time while he's out there. In fact, Tatum probably, I would say, shouldered most of those duties in this series. So Ben, I don't know if you want to jump in on Drew or do you want me to give my other candidate?
I had Drew as well, just very quickly, and I think Jake, you touched on the 73.4 true shooting percentage in this series, which is by far the highest of the heavy minute getters in this. There is a certain bench player who shot a higher true shooting percentage, which we'll get to a little later in the show, or maybe right now in Spoonie, I'm not sure, but Drew, he had some of the biggest plays of the. You're not gonna, I won't give the name away, I won't spoil it, but Drew had some of the biggest plays in this series. I've got 1.5 Halliburton turnovers late in game one, where kind of the first one was kind of just like Halliburton and Nesmith fucking around a bit and accidentally going out of bounds, but just Drew's presence
an aura
alone,
steal.
It's
an aura.
Steal.
Yeah.
And then, of course, the actual forced out of bounds shortly afterwards in game one. You had the steal on Nembhard to seal game three. Big offensive rebound off the Tatum miss to seal game four. I also felt like it was full of timely threes. In fact, just like timely buckets all series long. He shot 42% from 3 on 6 attempts per game, 7 boards, 6 assists per game. He's our sneaky MVP. Not even that sneaky, as you said, Jake. Spoonie, who you got?
Okay, so I agree, but 13 points a game, 7.5 rebounds, a steal, 2 blocks, and only 1.5 fouls on 35 minutes a night. Shot 39% from 3. Al Horford. We were fucked without Al Horford in this series, dude. We're playing Xavier Tillman for 35 minutes a night? No way, dude.
Evergreen statement.
Yeah, right. We were fucked without Al Horford. And I think the 1.5 fouls is the biggest thing because we really had no other options as a big man. Like Tilly did fine in his minutes. Brissett did fine for 2 games in that small ball unit. But we needed every minute of Al's 35 minutes a night. Every other starter had 2.3 or more fouls per game. So him not fouling, defending without fouling, making his threes, and rebounding. And, dude, 13 points per game for a 38-year-old Al Horford in the conference finals? Like, that is absolutely nothing to sniff at. So, and he was, I think, second of the starters in net rating at plus 7.4. So I think just a really underrated series from Al Horford. I just don't want us to take Al for granted, even though I would say Drew deserved it.
Such a good choice. Such a good shout. Like, where would we be, man? Oh my God. What a freaking... Thank you, Danny Ainge, for signing Al Horford all those years ago, man. He has been so huge in so many moments for years now. Get this man a ring. Like, who needs Porzingis, man? Just chill out. Just hang out to the finals. We got the big dog, Al Horford. We're going to get through this playoff run 12-2 thanks to the OG and just a monster 6 for 13 from 3 game in game 3 to help the Celtics come back from 18. He was, very important. He made sure that the Tatum highlight didn't get lost to the Chamber of Secrets with the behind the back pass and knocking it down in the corner. Like, Al Horford, man. And he got himself all this rest. We helped, the rest of the team helped, but Al Horford absolutely helped himself get this rest and get this ring.
I say my prayers for Al Horford every single night as I go to bed. As a non-religious man, that's where my prayers are going up to every night. Just to get to Louisa's comment here, JB deserved the MVP. If you disagree, then you clearly didn't watch the series. Of course, JB deserved the MVP. He got the MVP, which is why we're not even joking around with our own MVP award. We gave out the sneaky MVP award. JB.
Right, Jake?
Yeah. Well, quick, let's move on before Jake gets us in trouble. The Game of the Series award for the Game of the Series. Here are the nominees. Game 1, down 3 with 8.5 seconds remaining. Pretty huge comeback. Pretty good game. Game 1, definitely a solid nominee. Game 3, the comeback from down 18. Game 4, ridiculous clutch execution to snatch victory from the jaws of defeat to send us to the fucking NBA Finals. So basically 3 of the 4 games. Game 2 was just more of a decisive end-to-end blowout-ish victory. Jaylen Brown was incredible in Game 2 in that vacuum there, and of course throughout the whole series. Of those 3 nominees, Spoonie, does one of them stand out to you as the game of the series?
I think for me it's Game 3. You get the Tatum masterpiece. You get everybody like pulling on the same rope defensively from like halfway through that third quarter till the end of the game. Amazing late game execution. Basically, they couldn't make a mistake in that fourth quarter, and they essentially didn't. And once you make it 3-0, the series is basically over, right? So that was just such a huge relief because 2-1, Game 4's in Indy. Imagine if it was 2-1 in that Game 4 and it went like we were almost dying already with that late pullout. We would have been absolutely dead on the ground. So I think that was just like this series over, and they just kind of refound it a little bit, I thought, in that third quarter especially. So that's one for me. 18-point comebacks don't happen all the time in the Eastern Conference Finals, so cherishing that one a little bit.
Yeah, that's a monster game. Monster game. And like when you go down 18, you just have to play so well to come back. So like the quality of the Celtics basketball they played from when they went down 18 to when they won the game, like that is just so good. Like, and because the Pacers didn't go away. That was the thing about the comeback. It's like, yeah, maybe like they struggled at the very, very end, but it was Nembhard 3, TJ McConnell 3. Like they kept coming and coming and coming, and the Celtics just kept executing, not letting themselves get themselves down, and just refused to die in that moment when it would have been like, we're up 2-0, this isn't the end of the world. And they just kept coming. And obviously, yeah, the Tatum masterpiece amidst the chaos of the narrative shitstorm that we find ourselves in was absolutely very welcomed.
Yeah, absolutely. I would say if there was a moment of the series award, which maybe we're in control of this, there easily could be. But Game 1, the Jaylen Brown shot out of the corner there in the Garden, like that's a championship DVD moment. That's a Jaylen Brown Hall of Fame Inception speech. Being part of that montage there moment. It was just an incredible moment. But yeah, overall Game 3, the comeback from down 18 and a magic number defying fourth quarter there. The magic number, for all those who are unaware, this is our New Zealand correspondent Joe Tiddy invention. I believe the formula, correct me if I'm wrong here guys, is minutes remaining plus deficit plus 1. Is that right?
Minutes remaining times 2.
Wrong?
Minutes remaining times 2
yes.
plus 2.
So wrong.
Yeah, so bad. Yeah. So wrong. Yeah, so it's like if there's... I know, yeah. So if there's 8 minutes left, you got to times that by 2 plus 2. So 18-point lead with 8 minutes to go is around the magic number. And that I'm not sure if they actually went over the magic number, but we were teetering on the edge there for a little bit. And the Celtics know the power of the magic number.
Clearly, I can't say the same for myself. Okay, Game 3, game of the series. Now, moving on. The Preparation H Award, the Soothing Balm Award for Best Sphincter Reliever. Spoonie, who have you got?
I mean, there was a ton of sphincter tightening and relief in this series. It was I would say like a banner series for Preparation H and its various uses. I'm almost like this is kind of a cop out, but the Drew rebound at the end of Game 4, where it's just like it's over, we're going to the finals. Like there's multiple Drew Holidays, there's a few Jaylen Browns, but that was like, okay, they get this rebound. There's like 3 seconds left. They take a timeout, and it's like, oh my God, this is absolutely terrifying. Nembhard's going to hit a 35-footer, blah, blah, blah. But he just comes down with it, and smart to quickly pass it out before they could foul him too and just completely end the game. So when you win a series, that's the ultimate sphincter relief. So that I think wins it for me. But this is probably the most hotly contested award of this prestigious award show.
Yeah, I mean, like obviously that's a great one. I'll leave some other ones for you, Ben. I'll try and take one that's a little off the board here. But Tatum's overtime period in Game 1, like just Tatum to have those moments in that overtime period. Specifically, you had the and one over TJ McConnell, which kind of iced the game, if I'm not mistaken. That was like, okay, Game 1, can we be normal? Can we just go up 1-0 in the Eastern Conference Finals against a team that we're better than? Obviously, after going down and then getting through overtime. Tatum's OT, like coming up clutch, hitting that big three at the top of the key after missing 2 big threes at the top of the key. So like that overtime period, just like, yes, here he is, saving the day. That's our guy. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, both good nominations. I kind of look at this as who had the most like sphincter relieving events throughout the course of the series. And so what about Joe Mazzulla, who felt like he was always calling a timeout when a timeout was needed? Yes, maybe we can credit this, maybe credit's the wrong word, attribute this to the Luke Cornett injury, but he made adjustments and changed up his rotation when needed to address things that Indy were throwing at us in a timely fashion as well. It just felt like this, and someone just had this in the comments. It was Godezilla here. Was this the best Joe series? I think it was. I think he flexed some newfound maturity as a playoff schematic coach in this one, and I never found myself feeling frustrated with Joe. Quite the opposite. I kind of felt like he was like there to attend to my fan-related anxieties at all times, which is obviously a very self-obsessed viewpoint. But that's just who I am at this point. I thought it was a great Joe Mazzulla series. So a lot of sphincter relief coming from Joe in this one from my perspective.
Yeah, and I felt like, honestly, we didn't really hit our threes this series.
No.
Other than game 2 when it was a blowout, 33% in game 1, 32% in game 4, 35% in game 3. That none of that is like Celtics. I think we were like shooting 38% from 3 going into the series, so we're well below that in all those games. And I think that is why maybe the offense didn't look as incredible as it has in previous games. But I thought the way we played offense, bar the first half of game 3, was just really, really smart and really consistent, where we were getting into our stuff mostly fairly early. There was not a lot of like, speed up, what are you doing? Like, there were definitely some possessions there, but often Carlisle's a great defensive coach. They were doing a lot of pre-switching off ball because we kept trying to drag Miles Turner into the action. And it just, and then you've got to counter that some other way or get the other guy to bring up the screen. And so it was, it's the conference finals, man. It's a chess match. And yeah, I'm with you, Ben. Jesus. I thought Joe did a really, really excellent job, and just kind of trusted the scheme that like, we'll let them make twos. We'll let them make long twos, and we're going to outscore them. And for the most part, we did.
Just on the Indiana Pacers defense, like, it's a great point. The Pacers defense is a lot better than people have the idea of, because like their overall numbers for the season are bad, but like down the stretch in the regular season when they were fighting to stay out of the play-in, they were 17th in defensive rating in the last 15 games of the season. Is that amazing? No. But like, you contrast that to like the Atlanta Hawks, who are always like in that top 5 offense, but always bottom 5 defense. The Pacers had this historic offense. Like, I know the Celtics ended up being first, but a lot of that had to do with Halliburton being injured for a good chunk and then struggling with the injury. So I'd say best offense in the league. And when you're scoring at the rate that they are, it makes defense, like, it just is all connected. It's going to make their defense easier when they're scoring so much. And so, like, just want to give credit to the Pacers in general, from that perspective. Like, their defense is better than people gave it credit for, and their offense is better than people gave it credit for. Like, people just kind of hand wave the whole like they were the best offense in the NBA thing. It's like they were the best offense in the NBA, like night in, night out. It did not matter exactly ever. And so like, and that everything's connected. So it's like this Wolves series. Sorry to go on a tangent. It's like, is it the offense or is it the defense? It's all connected. When you can't get stops, you can't score. When you can't score, it makes it harder to get stops, and around we go. So this Pacers team, I think, is a much more difficult test than the national media is going to give us credit for. But we know.
That's right. Hey, and real quick before we move on, I just want to say we got to shout out Jaylen Brown, because he had a bunch of massive clutch moments in this series.
Oh my God.
Starting with the game 1-3, like that step through he had multiple big buckets in that game 3 comeback, the step through, the block on Nembhard. I know, Ben, I saw you put out a video on our stuff today about Jaylen's clutch moments, so go check that out. But he deserves at least a shout out for his incredible clutch play and the assist to Derek White to win the series. So just a monster clutch performance from JB too.
So good. Yeah. So good.
And
this step through move that he's doing now?
Oh, my God. Yeah, where did that come from?
The counter to the fall away, dude. It's unguardable.
So good.
It's so good. Aesthetically, like Jaylen, I've said this for a long time, has the most aesthetically pleasing game of a Celtic for a very long time. And the Jays are both getting their flowers, it seems, in maybe not the mainstream media, but at least mainstream podcast media. I feel like there's been a real shift, and particularly around Jaylen Brown, since he was awarded the Eastern Conference Finals MVP award, which is great to see. Now, before we move on, stop and just appreciate the award show so far. A lot of award winners so far going home very happy, making room in the trophy cabinet for these very prestigious awards. Before we move on, though, we're going to get to a live ad read here from our friends over at Prize Picks, Jake.
Yes, and so unsurprisingly, I've been dominating the First to Floor Prize Picks competition so far. This is the power of doing the ad read. I get to write the narrative here.
Well, that's poorly placed lower third.
So with Prize Picks, you can turn $10 into $1,000 in a single game watching your favorite sports this summer. You can make a Prize Picks lineup in as little as 60 seconds. You just need to pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections, and you're locked in. The finals mean more on Prize Picks, and so do the star players. So you're getting boosted payouts on select basketball stars that you're not going to find anywhere else. And this is a huge thing. Prize Picks offers injury insurance. So if your lineups stay in play, even if one of your players get injured this playoff basketball season, if you have a player who exits the game in the first half and does not return in the second half, Prize Picks will have your back and not count that as a loss. Which, that's just so huge when it comes to this type of activity. Jaylen Brown has been my go-to guy in the playoffs. Picking over on JB points has been money in the bank this playoffs. So download the app today and use code CLNS for a first deposit match up to $100. Offer repeat offer and promo code. It is highly encouraged. Pick more, pick less. It's that easy.
Kobe.
We got to take out a tiny bit.
Yeah, it's all right.
That's all right.
We'll cut that part.
You're on mute.
You're muted, Ben.
We're on fire.
I wasn't saying anything good anyway. Don't worry. I'm actually glad I was muted for those words that no one will hear, thankfully. Great work, Jake. Let's move on, shall we? The best single game performance. Here are some nominees. Tatum, Game 3, 36 points, 10 boards, 8 assists. Very efficient. Played 44 minutes in the game. Instrumental in the comeback. And this game kind of shut down the anti-Tatum discourse, at least in that moment. So very timely performance there by Tatum in Game 3. Jaylen Brown, Game 2, 40 points, 52% from the floor, 40% from 3, 8 of 11 from the free throw line, which if you've been watching Jaylen play long enough is actually quite efficient compared to the norm there. He just dominated the game. I think you can call that the Jaylen game there in Game 2. Same game, Game 2, masterful Drew Holiday performance, 6 of 7 shooting, 15 points, 10 assists, 1 turnover. I'll also throw in 2 more. Game 1, Drew Holiday's 28 points, 8 assists, 7 boards, 10 of 16 from the floor, just controlled the game. And Game 3, Al Horford, 7 of 12 from beyond the arc and 3 blocks. Those are the nominees I'm throwing out there, Spoonie. I don't know if you've got anything else to add to the pile, but a lot to choose from here as far as single game performances.
So, I mean, Tatum's Game 1 kind of going under the radar a little bit. 36, 12, 4, 3 steals, plus 20. But I think it's between 2 for me. It's between Tatum Game 3 or Jaylen Game 2. And I think the Tatum Game 3 feels more important because it was such a close game. But you could argue the reason Game 2 wasn't close is because Jaylen was completely unguardable. He was also a team-leading plus 18 in that game. And Jaylen also often lags a little bit behind in plus minus, partly due to just kind of the rotation fuckery that Joe likes to do, take Tatum out early, blah, 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 but that Tatum 36, 10, 8, and no turnovers and great defense, it's just, I think that's the number one for me. Like, that's one of the best games he's ever played, and he's one of the best players in the league in the conference finals when we needed basically every single point and assist to win that game. So that's got to be the one, but JB's 40 a close second.
Yeah, it's pretty hard to go past the Tatum game because the difference from a statistical perspective is like the 4 points in scoring, but Tatum has the rebounds and he's driving the ship, man. Like, he controlled everything. Yeah, I just never going to get over that behind the back pass to Horford in the corner. Like, just an absurd play. Like, that's a tier 1A. Like, that's a best guy on a finals team performance. And so, yeah, I kind of have to go there. But that Drew Holiday game, in the context of, relative to expectations, whatever you want to say, Drew, is in the pecking order, to get 28 points on 10 for 16 shooting with 7 boards, 8 assists, 3 steals, like just an insanely efficient night, plus what he's giving you defensively on the other end. So I might even have that Drew game ahead of Jaylen's game. It almost feels slanderous to say that, but Jaylen's a bucket, and 40 points on 27 shots is pretty damn impressive.
Yeah, I got to go the Jaylen game because I just thought that was the most dominant individual performance throughout the series, and it was more of a captain's knock for Jason Tatum as far as statistical attributes across the board. It felt like to me Jaylen just straight up dominated the Pacers defense in that game. It was just the most egregious, like, oh, you really have fucking nobody to guard this guy. And that is just going to be demonstrated repetitively over and over again throughout the course of a game. And to me, that was just the most dominant stretch. And you pair that with the fact that he won the Larry Bird trophy. I just thought that was the best individual performance of the series. But we have the luxury of having so many to choose from. I feel like you both went with Tatum, so we've got to give the award to Tatum there.
It's a great comment from Brandon in the chat here. This team is like great jazz, elite individual performances working together. And a lot of people don't like jazz. A lot of people hate jazz. So just not ball knowers. If you hate jazz, you don't know ball. I don't know what to tell you.
And vice versa.
Yeah.
The Blake Griffin Award for vibiest player. This could go to anyone. It's very arbitrary criteria here. Spoonie, who you got?
I got to go O'Shea Brissett. He comes in against his old team, just kind of chaotic. Like, I think he had a positive impact in game 2. I don't know if you can say that about his performance in game 3, but he tries super hard. He's got a huge smile on his face. And every time they talk to him or every time he's live streaming, he's basically like that LeBron meme where it's like, I can't believe this is my life. Where he's like showering outside. That is his whole vibe right now. And he had a tweet today where I think he quote tweeted something about like Jaylen Brown's like playing to be an equal and Jason Tatum's only playing to win. I don't know. It was some complete dumb shit. And Brissett's like, man, you guys are really bored, huh?
Yeah, dude.
So I got to go with O'Shea.
That's a great call. O'Shea. I actually found this award by far the most difficult. I'm going to give it to Jaylen Brown. And like not in the vibiest way we're probably used to, like the Blake Griffin, the Luke Cornish game hen type. We're on a business trip here, fellas, and Jaylen Brown has been bringing the necessary mindset and business-like approach to the playoffs from the jump to the season. So that's the vibe I'm looking for. And then we got the release of Jaylen Brown winning the award as well. So give me Jaylen Brown. That's the type of energy. He was talking shit to Miles Turner, calling him a good kid despite being a year older than Miles, older than Miles Turner, younger.
Miles is older, right?
That's right. How's my brain screwing this up? So Jaylen Brown talking shit. Love to see it.
I had Jason Tatum. Partially because I just wanted to make sure Tatum got his flowers throughout the duration of this show, with JB having deservedly won the MVP award there. But I noticed an emotional uptick from Tatum in this one, who is sometimes criticized by people who really have no skin in the game about his lack of cagey emotional outbursts. And this one, I thought I noticed a lot of Tatum, screaming in the background, yelling at guys, during huddles, not yelling at them, but gassing them up. And he really did have this sense of an emotional leader throughout the game and felt appropriately hyped up and not his usual subdued Tatum self. And because we're used to that side of him, I thought that was a noticeable change. And I'll categorize that as a vibiest change as well. So for me, he wins the award. Sounds like we're giving it to O'Shea, though. Some love for Jaylen as well.
I'll give it to Jaylen.
They just take it home as a trio. I don't know. It doesn't really matter, right?
Give it to O'Shea. He might not get a chance to win another one here.
Let's give it to O'Shea. And what am I saying? Of course it matters. These are highly prestigious awards.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, congratulations, O'Shea Brissett. And we're all, I think, really on the edge of our seats waiting for that new vlog to come out. Depoy, the Drew Holiday Award for Defensive Player of the Series. Depos. Are we just giving this one to Drew again? He won it against the Cavs as well. I think it's pretty safe to say. Could you make an argument for anyone else?
Did he win it against the Heat as well? I feel like he did. It may have been Tatum, but yeah, I don't know how you go past Drew, man. I'm so impressed with his level of defense because I thought throughout the regular season he was great defensively, but I didn't if you were to ask me at various points throughout the season who the best defender on the Celtics has been or is at the current moment, I wouldn't have always said Drew, but he's just been consistently destructive. That's my favorite word to use when talking about Drew Holiday, and he's going to be so important in the next series, getting through screens against both Luka and Kyrie. Derek Jones Jr. is going to be very sore. That's all I can say.
Yeah, that's for damn sure.
Yeah.
I have a second place guy because I do think it's Drew, but I thought this might have been the best defensive series of Jaylen Brown's career. He was friggin' awesome defensively. He was the only guy I thought consistently bothered Siakam. I can't remember one time where I was like, Jaylen, why did you help out of the strong side corner? Like, what are you doing? I thought he was really, really locked in, and we didn't notice him on defense, which is when Jaylen Brown is playing his best defense because it means he's executing the scheme perfectly. And they just never attacked him. They treated him like teams often do with Tatum, where it's like, oh, this guy's on me, I'm just going to move the ball and set an off-ball screen. So I thought JB was really, really good, pretty solid rebounding too, and some absolute highlight plays, highlighted by that Nembhard block that, may have won the series in 4. So I just want to shout out JB, who I thought his defense has gone a little underappreciated during that series. And that's a tough team to guard, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Shout out JB. There are some call-outs in the chat for some
D.
D.
White.
White love.
Yeah.
Derek White, he averaged just over 5.5 stocks per game, which is incredible. And yeah, his ability to defend the rim at his size relative to who he's defending, like we're saying in the live show, he's blocking Miles Turner out there. He's blocking guys way bigger than him. I think where the key difference is, and guys, correct me if I'm wrong here, between Derek White and Drew, at least within the vacuum of this series, is Drew's ability to blow up offensive actions and just completely disrupt what the opposition is trying to do. Derek, unfortunately, in some cases, just by way of being the weakest link as far as his physical dimensions, targeted defensively, just because this is a really solid defensive team. You have to pick someone to go at, and often that just falls to Derek White. And there were a couple of times where they did take advantage of his size relative to the rest of the team. I thought still incredible defensively, and it's not like that's an easy look for the opposition, but that's where he kind of loses to Drew in the case of this award.
Yeah, man. Tough spot. And it's funny, similar to Horford in that, people have talked a lot about him being hunted. It's they have to attack somewhere. They have to attack somewhere. And, it's going to either be Horford or Derek White in a lot of matchups just because, that's the only option. I would like D. White to try and raise his level of physicality. I mean, the fact that he's able, and that's what I love about Derek White, and is to make these plays despite struggling in maybe some individual isolation spots, and that's you got to win these games, man. And to still be an excellent team defender and make these big plays, man. Spotting at the rim, finding steals, hustling back, that's what you have to do when you're not, making an impact or you're struggling in a certain spot of the game. So Derek White definitely deserves a mention, but I do think that he was part of why we struggled a little bit defensively at times as well.
Yeah, Derek White's kind of suffering from raising the bar so high because he's been so good all season. But he led the team in net rating other than Brissett and Tillman. But he led all the actual guys who played every game, big minutes in net rating by 2. So we were killing them when he was on the court. And offensively, 58 true shooting percentage, which is above average. We're just used to Derek at 63 or something, completely unsustainable. So I think I was probably a little harsh on him looking back throughout the series, but it was not the Derek White series, kind of a forgettable performance. But that's fine, man. That's the beauty of this team, right? Somebody can play the stand-up bass, and that's fine.
Yeah.
But hey, man,
give
that
all
a
the
jazz
awards to Brad
instrument?
Stevens. Brad Stevens has
The
formed
oboe?
the perfect jazz quintet, I guess we'll call it, or whatever the word for 6 is. God, I'm an idiot. But yeah, all the awards to Brad Stevens. He's built the perfect team. If this were the Lakers podcast, you can't really do this show. You're just giving everything to one of 2 players, I think. And we're so lucky that the talent is so widely distributed that we're able to have these in-depth, nuanced, I'll call it nuanced, conversations about who wins these bizarrely specific award categories. Drew Holiday, the depoy again in this particular series. So let's call this one as a one-off, the Bill Walton Award for Best Off the Bench. Shout out, rest in peace, Bill Walton, Who was the best player, Jake, off the bench in this series?
Tough one, this one. Wouldn't say this is a bench
for the
series.
wrong reason.
Wasn't say this is a bench series. I might just give it to Brissett. Like, as far as highest impact in one moment, I thought that he was really impactful in game 2 when they went to that small lineup. So yeah, I'll go with Brissy. They did kind of figure that lineup out as the series went along. Yeah, I thought that the bench kind of struggled in this series, and part of the issue is that this is not Al Horford's supposed to be winning this award every series because Porzingis is supposed to be here. But I'll give it to Brissett for his ceiling impact in game 2.
Okay, my nominee. I'll start with the bad. Minus 19 net rating, which is really, really, really bad. But 77% effective field goal percent, 80.5 true shooting percent, led the bench in scoring with 7 a game, about 2 assists on half a turnover a game. Peyton Pritchard, I thought that net rating is kind of doing him dirty. He kind of got, think he was like on the court for some unlucky indie shooting runs. I thought his defense was okay. It was fine. Like, he didn't feel unplayable to me really at all. And yeah, like Jake said, I mean, this is a difficult one for all the wrong reasons. So I think kind of by default, I'd say Pritchard. But O'Shea's a good shout, man. Like, he kind of changed the game game 2, I think, when they went to him at the 5, and we kind of started running away with it once he was out there.
Yeah, look, I love O'Shea, love the vlog rather, love what he brings to the team on and off the court, but 80.5 true shooting percentage for Peyton Pritchard. It's hard to look beyond that. I also thought that he may have lost, but he fought valiantly in the TJPP Spider-Man meme battle in the end.
He did.
And Isaiah Jackson, he dragged a foot across his face late in the game. He played through that, knocked down some free throws. I thought, we barely got anything from our bench in this one, but Pritchard led the bench in minutes per game at 16.4. He gave us what he could in the face of an epic mirrored battle with TJ McConnell there. So I thought he did enough to at least win the Bill Walton Best Off the Bench award. Moving on. The Max Strus Award for most annoying player on the other team. And credit the Pacers here because I think they were the least annoying, at least as far as the vibes go, opponent that we've seen so far in the postseason. I thought their fan base were very pleasant to deal with as the series progressed. And they're a very likable team with a very likable coach, great arena, good vibes in the arena. maybe
I don't know about the coach thing, but
maybe I wrote this spiel a couple of days ago and I need to change it up. But I like the Pacers. I like the way they hoop, put simply. So it's tough to hate on these guys. I do have a few nominees for you for most annoying Max Strus-like player of the series. Aaron Nesmith, who led the series in fouls per game, also shot 19% from 3, much to our relief. Andrew Nemhard for punishing us with rapid fire, what the fuck, how did he make that feelings? And TJ McConnell for being TJ McConnell. Jake Spoody, who's the winner of this award?
I mean, coming into the series, I was like, it's obviously going to be Nesmith. Like, we didn't really get like the Nesmith stuff because he just wasn't hitting shots really. And Jaylen and Jason just took him to town. Like, he didn't really have the in-season tournament game, the quarterfinals in Indiana where Nesmith like had that dunk to seal the game, going nuts. Like, and he's had some nice moments against the Celtics, but he didn't really. Yeah, this team didn't piss me off at all. Like, maybe Miles Turner where he like kind of pushed Jaylen in game 4, but like as far as the actual annoying vibe part, I think this might just be a vacant slot for me.
Oh, interesting. So on real quick on the Pacers fans, I was checking their subreddit as I usually do after like we steal a game, and their fans' comments were like, "It's such a breath of fresh air to play a team that doesn't flop and plays ethical basketball." They're like, after watching Brunson flop around, I'm just happy to play guys like Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. And I was like, holy shit, this is awesome. So I stopped going in there, except I went in there after game 3. Same thing. They're like, hey, we're going to lose. They're a great team. I'm just proud of our guys. I'm like, let's play the Pacers every season.
What's in the water there in Indiana? That's amazing.
Yeah, but between that and the Caitlin Cooper coverage, it's just like everybody's like, fuck let's more Pacers stuff, please.
Yeah. But I
very
think
cool.
it's TJ. I find TJ criminally annoying. I absolutely hate that dude. I'd love him if he was a Celtic. Like the bullshit fallaways where he's almost out of bounds on the sideline. He's pesky defender. He like fouls every time he defends you, but he does it so, it's like Heat where he does it so much they never call it. Hey, that dude's just friggin' annoying. And then he was making threes, like big threes, and it's just like, get out of here, TJ. So for me, clear TJ.
Yeah, I'll jump on the TJ wagon and give him this award. Jake, can we get you on board there?
Yeah, I'm in. My vote was up for grabs. I'm happy to go with the TJ. I mean, especially with that analogy that Spoonie used with as your friend that gets too drunk and like starts telling you that he loves you and just doesn't stop until he blacks out and passes out. So yeah, that's absolutely TJ's welcome to that award.
Okay. Congratulations, TJ McConnell. You were the most annoying player in this series. Okay. Most memorable non-basketball moment. These were a little harder to come by, I thought, than in series prior. I do have two. One, and these both came after the series was wrapped up. Sam Hauser shotgunning a beer in the locker room. Magical non-basketball related moment. And then Brissy in the awards huddle with the vlog camera. Yeah,
go ahead. You're giving me the awards. Sorry.
Well, no, those are my only two nominees. So if you've got something you want to add. So it's Hauser with the beer and Brissy with the camera in the huddle. Just like clearly like for the content. It's right there in the huddle. Hugely expensive camera thrust into the air. Yeah, amazing. What do you guys got?
Well, I was going to say Hauser's trying to forget that series as fast as possible. So he's just like, how many beers can I drink as fast as I possibly can? Yeah, let's go. Yeah. Just
liquid lobotomy.
Bro, dude, yeah, let's forget that airball ace SAP, please. The other one is just Jaylen winning the Eastern Conference Finals MVP. Like that's not necessarily like the fact that he had that moment where he's just kind of looking around. He's like, oh shit, I won. I ain't never win shit, to quote Jaylen Brown. So that was awesome from Jaylen. I loved that. I filled my heart with joy.
I had the Jaylen moment. Like it was just so it was so endearing where he's just standing there like clearly expecting Maxwell to say Jason Tatum and it's like, oh shit. And then everybody jumps on him except Jason Tatum, who was madly staring at daggers at Jaylen Brown from behind him. Didn't clap or smile one time, but yeah, for me it was JB winning the Eastern Conference Finals MVP. I just thought it was a great little moment. He clearly, and you could clearly tell it meant a lot to him too, which is just awesome. And Maxwell crushed the presentation. Yeah, like he didn't even introduce it. It's like, my pleasure to say Jaylen Brown.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Jaylen
Brown.
Like, we need you to say the name of the award. Like for promotional purposes, can you please tee it up this way? Both times he's given it out, he's just completely skipped that part, which is awesome and hilarious. Friend of the show.
So yeah, I mean, if he's Bam Adebayo, I'm like, he's the best, man. What a king!
He is.
Love Maxwell.
Awesome. Yeah, look, I'll jump on the JB Awards ceremony. That's just a great moment. I think vibes-wise and narrative-wise, like we were calling for that as soon as it looked like it was going to be a JB series and that he might be in line for that award. And now, JT, JB, they've got one each. Balance has been restored to the Celtics fan universe. You love to see it. But I do have to tip the cap to Brissy with just the dedication to the vlog.
Yeah.
And then on Twitter, later, you all saw the photo, the vlog's going to be lit, or whatever he said, just promoting it even further. So I love the dedication there. We've got one more award here, the Karis LeVert Award for Dumbest Shot Maker on Indiana. I have a name in mind. I'll throw it to you guys first.
Spoonie, you go.
Okay, this is just my chance to bitch about Pascal Siakam hitting.
Oh, I had the same.
Okay, great.
What the fuck? Dude, there's hands in his face. And it's not like he's 10 feet away. He's making these from 19 feet covered fallaways. And he shot some ridiculous percentage on contested mid-range. It was over 50%. Dude, that is not, you're not Michael Jordan. What is going on here? So I added that award just so I could bitch about Pascal Siakam.
Perfect.
I love it.
I'm glad that you did, because that led to me looking up his numbers in that series versus the regular season. So he shot 57.8% from the mid-range in the series. He shot 41% in the regular season in the mid-range. He was insane. I was like, I'm pretty sure he's not this guy. I've been watching all of the playoffs and all of the regular season with the Pacers. It's he's a good player, big fan. 58% from the mid-range on tough. I remember one specific one, baseline fadeaway, shot clock winding down. He was 11 for 13 at one point in one game. He was nuts, dude. He was nuts. Like, tip your cap, man. You got to make the shots. But the Pacers kind of felt like they were kind of on their Caleb Martin shit at times. I know that's what they do. They weren't like, it wasn't actually that outlandish, but Siakam in particular, he was kind of like in another planet there for a little bit.
Yeah, I'll happily anoint Pascal Siakam the winner of this award. I had Obi Toppin down as well, who shot 50% from three on very, very low volume, but there wasn't an Obi Toppin make where I wasn't like, wait, is that Obi Toppin? What the fuck? Like, he can't shoot. There's a reason he's completely wide open here, and he knocked him down. Credit to him. But dumbest shot maker, I think, is a good brush to paint that performance with. All right, well, look, if you've got any feedback on these very prestigious awards, again, congratulations to all the winners. We'll be back, obviously, after the finals to anoint some more award winners, which will probably be the most important hardware to be awarded to the performers in the NBA Finals. So look forward to that. But guys, thanks for bringing your game here and handing out these awards with me. It's always a lot of fun. Before we get to the news of the day to wrap up here on this show, we've got a quick word from the live ad read extraordinaire, Jake Eisenberg, on our friends from Game Time.
All right, let's do it. Game Time. Okay, so just the longest 8 days of our lives until the NBA Finals, which I'm sure won't be littered with the most egregious and ridiculous takes like Jason Tatum not smiling big enough for the NBA media this time. Like, he's just not good enough at smiling now. That's the newest one. So it's going to be a great 8 days off for the Celtics. But Game Time makes getting NBA Finals tickets even faster and easier. Prices on the Game Time app actually go down closer it gets to tip-off. With killer last-minute deals, all-in prices, views from your seat, and their lowest price guarantee, Game Time takes the guesswork out of buying NBA tickets. And my dad has successfully escaped the rip in the space-time continuum and returned home with glowing reports of his experience with Game Time. So, with all this time off, why not catch a Red Sox game for $45? I was having a look. We've got last-minute tickets, flash deals, zone deals, easy to find MLB tickets for every kind of event in your area. They've even got old mate Australian singer-songwriter Ziggy Alberts playing in Boston at the Republic on June 15th, day after a finals game, $40. Lowest price guarantee, event cancellation protection, job loss protection. Take the guesswork out of buying NBA Finals tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code CLNS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code CLNS for $20 off your first purchase. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed.
Amazing. We should do these live more often. It's a lot of fun.
They're ripping the space.
That's great. I'm glad to hear that situation's been resolved. And shout out to Game Time. It's genuinely it's a great app there, great platform. So definitely check it out and use that code CLNS for all the good deals. News of the day: Kristaps Porzingis, good to go? Question mark. If the inflection wasn't clear enough there. Adam Himmelsbach had the tweet. League sources stressed, and the wording's a little strange here. League sources stressed that this week that Kristaps Porzingis has not suffered any setbacks and remains on track to be back during the NBA Finals. The team obviously will monitor his progress closely in the coming days. So the anxiety-riddled approach to that is like, what do you mean not game one? How are you not specific? And don't even mention setbacks. Who said anything about setbacks? I don't want to hear anything about setbacks at all. There's been no mention of that at all. Don't even introduce that phrase into my mind. But, I think we can walk away from that. Again, like all KP news reports, news leaks thus far in this injury recovery process, and that's really a lot of words without really telling us anything significant at all. Is that fair to say?
Damn it. I haven't been online and yet much today, and I was really hoping that it was going to be better than that. So I knew that this was in the run sheet, and I was like really hoping that was going to be more solid. So that's disappointing for me personally. Yeah, man. No one seems to know shit about what's going on with KP's calf. So hopefully he's back. He'll be back through this at some point in the series, but hopefully it's fucking game one.
Yeah, he kind of tweeted out like, I'll see you in the finals or something like that. So I feel like it's got to be progressing well. They probably just don't want to. I'm sure they got to test him at full speed first before they're really like, yeah, he'll be back. And it seems like they haven't done that yet, which is maybe kind of terrifying because the game's starting a week. But he kind of has the game where I feel like he can impact it anyway if he's not 100%. We'll need his spacing big time against either of these teams out west. So as long as he can shoot a jumper, he can be on a wheelchair for all I care.
Yeah, as long as they're guarding him out there. That's the thing. He should be able to shoot pick and pop threes pretty easily. That should be something he's already able to do. So just get up. Just be healthy, man.
I know.
Kristaps Porzingis healthy. This team's really good without Porzingis. This team is going to win the finals with Porzingis, no question to me.
Wheelchair, that would bring new meaning to the short roll, I think. Just roll on into the nail there, catch the ball. He's probably still like 6'9", sitting down. Pretty effective.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. And definitely heavier in the ass with the wheelchair.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. Puts the brakes on, engages
the tires.
Yeah, just fade away.
Leon Poe had a tweet, which I have not seen. It's on the run sheet here, so I'll throw to whoever added that. But what do we got?
All right, so Leon Poe responded to a clip from Get Up, which is just the classic BS. Jason Tatum is the pressure to prove that he's a winner for Jaylen Brown is the pressure to prove that he is an equal, whatever the hell that means. And Leon Poe went off the rails. You will be judged for your crimes against the Celtics. What kind of take is this? C's Nation president is in on it. He's already a winner. JB don't have to prove a damn thing about being someone's equal. That's in your mind. Don't put us against each other for likes and reactions. We're C's Nation under protection of their 2008 NBA champion, Judge Poe. On to the next. He just went off, man. I just thought it was funny, and I love it that he was on the team for like 3 years, and he just has that big of a. He just loves Boston that much. So I just loved it.
What's his role with the team again? Like he's around, right? Like
I thought he was like an NBA PA guy or something, or like worked for the league or something like that.
Well, I know he works for the league in some capacity. So when I saw that, I was like. It's kind of like not a thing you do when you actually work for a team or the NBA, but I absolutely appreciate it. I would love to know what Adam Silver thinks about the coverage of the Celtics and Tatum, and like, what does Adam Silver think of Kendrick Perkins and his impact on the NBA and like its existence as a product and as a business? Because I find it hard to believe that he thinks that it's good, but I don't know.
Sadly, it's just all clicks. And I think if you're generating engagement around the NBA, then Adam Silver, that's where the money's made, is clicks and attention online and engagement and viewership. I think in general, Adam Silver is going to welcome however you generate that kind of engagement, unfortunately. And I think just going back the last week or so and seeing all the vitriol online about the Celtics, it's important to like have a healthy mindset. And this, I think, can be applied to any sort of, online engagement with other people, because there's a lot of opposing opinions on whatever subject you're interested in online. And on our Instagram last night, for example, we had someone jump into the comments with some pretty vitriolic comments about the Celtics and their potential finals matchup. And it's important to understand that they're coming from a position of displeasure, distaste for their current situation. Maybe they're a fan of a team who hasn't made it this far. Maybe they're just a hater for whatever reason. And that's what's triggering their comments. And I think if you understand their standpoint and where they're coming from, it's easier to just ignore them. And because if you engage, then you're giving them what they want and you're actually giving them the happiness that they crave so much. If you just ignore them, or in the case in this channel, when we get trolls, we just like comment back saying, thanks for the engagement, thanks for watching, and just move on. You're not giving them what they crave so much. And I think that's the most satisfactory and probably the healthiest approach to all of these trolls that we're seeing an influx of based on the team's success so far. But yeah, I think as far as how Adam Silver views these people, whatever the conversation is, whatever the intent, wherever it's coming from, as long as it's about the NBA, they're going to be happy about it.
Yeah,
it's nonsense.
Yeah.
But fuck them, win the title.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's our standpoint. Can Minnesota win Game 5? Give us more basketball between now, like bridge the gap between now and the finals, and just do us the service of tiring out whoever our opponent ends up being. Jake, do you see Minnie getting another win here?
Oh man, look, Minnesota has been up in every fourth quarter of this series, so like it's not hard to see them pulling this thing out. They're favored in the game. The cat and ant thing, like. Cat finally showing up is a good sign. Like he has been a disaster up until the game yesterday. And so I haven't seen the injury report for Lively yet, because that's probably would flip it for me one way or another. Like if he's going to be playing and be healthy, I'd probably pick the Mavs. But the pressure's now, look, we were in this spot last year. The pressure goes back to the other team. Like when you're the team that's up 3-0, like the team that's down 3-0, you've kind of accepted your fate in a way. It's just like, we don't want our season to end. We're going to keep fighting till the end because like that's what we do as competitors. That's what we do as professional athletes. But your mindset flips into like, we've got nothing to lose, which is a dangerous team to play, which is why closeout games are really hard because it's like the other team's like, what do we care if we miss shots, man? We're down 3-0. Like, so the pressure's on Dallas, I would say at this point now, because this is the thing about being the higher seeded team, which is the same as the Celtics last year. It's like now you've stolen the game 4 in Dallas. You come home, and now the sphincters get tight for Dallas, right? Because now it's like we have to win game 6. All Minnesota has to do is win this next game, and the pressure gets cranked up to a 10. Because like you lose game 6 at home, like that in that environment with the, and you got to go back on the road. So just give us one. Just give us one, and that just like completely changes like the mental state of everybody.
Yeah. I Anthony Edwards has been on my fantasy basketball team since he's a rookie as my keeper. We are due for a big Anthony Edwards, like 7 for 11 from 3 game.
Yeah.
He's been pretty cold on the pull-ups recently. He hasn't shot over 45% in 5 games. We're due for an Ant game where everybody recrowns him the next MJ. And I just feel like coming back home, you've had 4 games to kind of figure out their defense and where you can get your shots. He's started to look a little more comfortable. I think we probably get like a crazy Ant game. It may not be enough to win, but that seems like kind of Minnie's only chance is if they get an Ant hot streak here. And I feel it coming. I feel it bubbling under the surface.
Yeah, are we due for like a good, efficient cat 3-point shooting night as well? Like maybe he has actually been jacking up 1,500 practice 3-point attempts per day since coming out with that ridiculous statement. I know, but I think, he anointed himself the best shooting big man in the league, I think, a couple of years ago.
Ever.
Yes, many times. Many times.
I said ever.
Yeah.
Can we just get that for a game, please, to push this out to at least 6 games? And I think as a Celtics fan, if this goes minimum 6 games, suddenly you're feeling a lot better about, the conditioning and the rest versus rust situation coming into whoever that matchup ends up being. Whether it goes 6 games, no matter who it is from that point onwards, they've been pretty thoroughly tested and pushed to their wits' end at that point. So hopefully that's the case, but we'll see. And on this channel, plenty more preview pods to go, including tomorrow night with Noah Dalzell from CLNS and Celtics blog. So that's going to do it for this one. Thank you so much for joining us. Like I just said, back live on this channel with Noah Dalzell tomorrow night at 8:45 p.m., previewing the biggest storylines going into the NBA Finals. That's going to be a lot of fun. Spoonie, Jake, love your work, guys. Until next time, go Celtics.
I love the Celtics!